Hello, welcome to Talking Good Game as match preview of Brighton and Hove Albion against West Ham United on Saturday. Charlie, right, hang on, before it gets started, I've been going on about it all week. It's the last time I'll go on about it. Tomorrow night, our auction for Isla ends at 9 p.m. The link is in the description below. And if you want to donate, if you've got a couple of quotes you can spare, the link for that is also in the description below. So go and have a look. But Charlie, what's your thoughts on our opponents?
I like Chris Hughton a lot, more than I think. I think he's good. I think he's one of those managers who deserves a chance at a club that's definitely not going to get relegated. And I think Brighton are actually close to that. I don't think they're going to be in and around that sort of group. I think as are we. I think we're all going to be in that. There's going to be more teams that are possibly getting relegated than there have been previously. But I think they've got enough to stay up, and I quite like them. And I think there's a couple of their players, one in particular that I would 100% take at West Ham.
Yeah, I think they're a good little club actually. I'm gonna admit something here, and I'm going to bring you into this. We were speaking before the season started. We were saying who's going to go down. And we thought Newcastle and Huddersfield could stay up, and we basically said Brighton will probably finish bottom of the league, actually. But I think that was a lot of people's expectations. So they're doing really, really well. You alluded to Chris Hughton there. Do you think he's arguably the most underrated manager in the Premier League?
Yeah, probably. I can't think of one that would fit that less off the top of my head. I think I've always been impressed when he's gone, and even when he's been at a club that have gone down or has been at a club that are struggling or whatever, I've always been impressed with A, the way he carries himself, and B, what he does. And I don't think it's entirely been his fault, but if he does well with Brighton and he keeps them up, because I agree, I believe I said they'd be bottom. If he keeps them up and then maybe has a second good season, then teams will come sniffing. Probably someone like us, when we finally get sick of David Moyes, people will come sniffing, and I think he deserves an opportunity at a bigger club, and that's not a diss against Brighton. I'm just saying I think he deserves a chance at sort of mid-table Premier League club.
You mentioned there that there's a couple of players at Brighton you wouldn't mind seeing at West Ham. Well, who are they? Who do you think look at Brighton and think he's a decent player?
Gross. I like Knockaert as well. I think Knockaert he's one of those players, again, if we're talking about people who deserves a chance in the Premier League, he sort of was knocking on the door of the Premier League for a long time. And I think now he's finally here. I like him a lot. He's tricky, he's quick, he has everything I like. Gross is just, we've spoken about stats before, and people out there like, oh, stats mean nothing, blah, 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 blah. But my man got signed from Germany because he had great stats, and he's done very, very well because of it. There's a couple of players there, but those two, particularly in a system where they're in and around a striker, I really enjoy.
Yeah, I have to agree. Actually, I think they've got quite a good few little players. Actually, I think Knockhart's actually been my biggest disappointment this season, which sounds a bit strange. He tore the Championship up. When he come to the Premier League, I was sort of waiting for him to sort of hit the mark and get it going. And he's been a bit stop-start. Actually, I've been quite disappointed by that. Like you said, Gross is by far, in my opinion, the player of the year. Although Glenn Murray's pushing him, actually. Glenn Murray's still scoring goals somehow, but he's been unbelievable. Their centre midfielders are quite impressive. They do their job. They're Chris Hughton type midfielders as well. And then Lewis Dunk's emerging as one of the top centre backs of the season. And if Brighton do go down, he won't be in the Championship next season. Someone will take him. He's like this year's Harry Maguire, if you like. What did you make of their transfer signings? They had two major ones. They've signed a striker from PSV called Lusadia or something. I can't say I know him, but he scored 9 and 15 over there. However, he's injured for this one. We don't have to worry about that. Then, of course, on loan, they've got someone that I know that you like, because I like him as well. They got Ulloa back from Leicester on loan.
Yeah, he came from Brighton originally. He's a good player, and he's a really good option. Glenn Murray, like you say, has been really good, and continues to just score goals no matter what. But Ulloa is one of those guys who I would have had at West Ham as just another option. I'm not saying we would start with him by any chance, like by any stretch of the imagination. That's not a thing I would like to see us do. We've already got Andy Carroll, but he's a big presence and makes himself known, and he has the ability to just continuously get goals. He might not be the most glamorous player in the world, despite the fact his name is difficult to pronounce, but I think he's a really decent player. And on loan, there's not much else you can really complain about. I think that's a great signing.
Yeah, he's quite similar to Glenn Murray, actually. So it works really well for Hughton and Brighton. The fact that he can switch from player A to player B without having to change the system is low risk, and he's probably a bit of a hero at Brighton. I can't speak for Brighton fans. I don't know if he is considered a hero there, but he did very well there. When he moved to Leicester for 6 million or whatever, he's more than repaid that fee at Leicester. Now he's way back to Brighton on loan. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he scored actually at the weekend. Usually, you just know if someone's going to score, it's going to be him at home, his return, etc. But Charlie, lastly, a quick question on Brighton. They're on 24 points just now, 15th place, so they could be in the relegation zone Saturday night, but they could also be on equal points with us on Saturday night, depending on how it goes. Will they stay up?
I think they will. I think they've got enough to do it. I think they've got a good manager enough to do it. It's going to be close, but I think they will.
Yeah, I think the manager's key here. I keep saying it sometimes, and that is some managers are worth points in the Premier League. I think Chris Hughton's worth a few, actually. But let's talk about West Ham now, Charlie. Well, we didn't win the last game. I know, well, we don't really have much options as to what to change. But one player we do have, which I think is maybe the only player we can consider bringing into the starting 11, is Antonio. Left out of the last squad for disciplinary reasons. Would you start him for this one?
It depends where his fitness is. If the only reason was why he got left out and he's 100% fit and ready to go, then I would consider putting him in depending on what the disciplinary problem was. If he's still got a knock or he's considered a bit iffy or he's not 100%, honestly, I just wouldn't risk it. I'd have him on the bench and bring him on, but I wouldn't risk putting him on from the start because the worst thing we need right now is someone who on his day can be very effective, re-injuring himself and being out for another month or something stupid like that. We need as many people back. So have him on the bench as an option, which is an infinite improvement than what we've had recently, and then bring him on if we need to, but I wouldn't start him.
Yeah, I'm a bit the same as that, actually. I wouldn't change the attacking options. I think Mario and Hernandez showed enough in that 90 minutes that they can actually link. They've linked quite well together quite quickly. There's some nice, neat little passes, little bits of play between the two of them. If we were playing a top six side, maybe I'd say change it. Let's get Antonio in who can stretch the play, who can allow us to play that 50-yard pass and he'll chase it and get throw-ins up the pitch, etc. That's not who we're playing. We're playing Brighton here. This is, if Brighton fans are thinking he's been a bit disrespectful, you understand in a minute. There's a question related to this later on. But we've done the front. Let's go to the back now, Charlie. Rice, James Collins, and Albon. I started the last game. I said on the review, I think this is actually my preferred trio now, despite the fact that I used to think Winston Reid was our best centre-back a few months ago. I think this is our best partnership. Do you agree with that, or is there a better combination? I mean, we've still got Font, who's now fit again, and there's some talk that Winston Reid might be fit enough for the bench, maybe even to start.
If it was any other partnership, I would probably consider playing Reid. Let's say they're both fit, Reid and Fonte ahead of Collins. As much as I love that man, and I will forever, he steps forward too much and can leave us really exposed at times, and that concerns me. But given the fact that I think it worked in the last game, I would be more than happy to see them start again.
But you viewers at home, let us know if you think that is our actual first choice back three now. Collins, Ogbonna, and Declan Rice. I think it is. I think it's an interesting enough debate because we've got plenty of options there. But speaking of options, Charlie, we don't have many other ones. However, one we do have is Hugo. Are you looking forward to seeing what he's got to offer? Chances are you'll be on the bench because Martinez was on the bench for Palace, now out on loan. Oxford was on the bench as well. He's now out on loan, so that's two spaces on the bench free. That's Antonio and Hugo, you would assume.
Yeah, and I am. And I think what you said before about how the attacking options actually kind of worked in the last game, I wouldn't go changing too much about it, especially with the amount of injuries. And so to have that option on the bench to maybe change it a little bit, to bring on someone who is known, I don't know much about him. I'm learning slightly more now than I was yesterday, but who's better in the air than he is on the floor and stuff like that is a good option to have. And if his interview is anything to go by, where he's talking about I'm just going to come here and give everything I've got. Like, that's the sort of guy you want to come off the bench to just throw on. It's going to be his Premier League debut. It would be a huge opportunity for him to actually impress. So to have that option off the bench is amazing.
I have to agree. He's a grafter by the sounds of it. I mean, like you said, we're only going by what Preston fans are telling us, and that is he is a grafter. And if you are defending a lead, he's probably actually the type of striker you want to bring on, someone that will chase their defence about, who, if you were to bunt the ball up to him, he's got a chance of holding it up, etc., etc. That's the type of striker you actually need when you're a goal up. Would you do any other changes? I mean, the other change that you could potentially think about is the right wing back. Byron played there against Palace. Zabaleta was centre midfielder, or would you keep that? Do you think it worked?
I'm keeping that as well. Although I think I would prefer Zabaleta over Byram in most cases, even in the wing back type role. I think if Sam Byram at this point he's getting close to how much of a future has he got at West Ham? What role is he going to play? Injuries happening, people around him. People keep talking about how we need another right back and stuff like that. If he is to stamp his place in the squad, now's the time to do it. And as a right wing back is probably his best chance at it. So I would keep it as is.
Yeah, I would keep it as well. I can't remember his name. Just nod, Charlie. Is his name is Aguirre or something? The left winger for Brighton, fast little nippy bugger, and he scored an absolute worldie at the London Stadium against it. Is Aguirre? Is Aguirre? You don't know.
I can't pronounce it, but yes, essentially.
It's something like that. He's nippy little fast burger in the left wing. Just that London Stadium performance, that was the worst performance I think we played this season. Houghton got his tactics spot on. They sat in their own third, if you like, just watching us try and do something. We couldn't do anything. They were so well organised. It was unbelievable. They had two banks of players. We could not get through them. And then, bang, 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 it was 3-0 before you knew it. Are you confident for this one, or do you think there could be a little bit of a repeat where Chris Houghton's tactics triumph once again?
I wouldn't say I was confident, but I'm certainly optimistic that we can at least come away with it with a point and not be as completely and utterly embarrassed as we were last time.
Are you ready, Charlie? Do you think David Moyes is going to play for the point in this one, or do you think we'll go for the win? I have a theory here, and that is I think David Moyes is just going to try and draw our way to safety almost and try and nick a win here, nick a win there. This game, Brighton are no mugs at home. Brighton are very, very good at home. I'm not sure. They've got very similar home form to what Huddersfield had when we played them, when I don't think they've lost at home to anyone outside the top six. They got thumped 4-0 by Chelsea. That was not a 4-0 game. I don't care what people say. That scoreline did not reflect the game at all. Sounds like they were harshly done midweek when they were, I think they drew, I can't remember who they drew away to. They drew 1-1 with Southampton, but it sounds like they were unlucky then. I think this is a tougher game on paper than some people realise.
Yeah, they're a good team. They're a good team in general, but as you said, their home form is very decent. It's going to be a difficult game, and I think that he will go for a draw, 100%. And he hasn't been helped with, obviously injuries are limiting us, and our board's inability to sign anyone is making it difficult. So he'll 100% go for a draw, and I don't particularly blame him. If you ask me now, will you take a boring draw? Maybe, but we in a better situation we would have enough to win. But given the amount of injuries, I'm 50-50.
Yeah, I think it depends how you look at this. Do you look at this as a point? Do you look at that as 2 points dropped, or do you look at it as you're taking 2 points off the opposition who are already below you in the table? Or are you just nudging them a little bit closer to that bottom three, and you're sort of keeping you're not going further away from the bottom three, but you're probably not getting dragged further in with a point. I think David Moyes is going to do what Chris Houghton almost did to us at the London Stadium and say, sit back and let them come at you and then see what you've got. And it's going to be up to Mario and Hernandez to try and create something. Kiai will be getting in the box as always. Creswell's probably going to be bombing forward like we saw against. I think it's going to be almost a repeat of what we saw against Crystal Palace. And while we played well, we didn't create much chances. There was no clear-cut chance after the game. We weren't discussing any chances. It was, oh, pass the ball about, etc., etc. Brighton have not won in 6 Premier League games, but West Ham are unbeaten in 6 Premier League games. So, Charlie, with that in mind and what we've all just discussed, would you care to give me a score prediction, please?
I think it's going to be quite a drab 1-1 draw, and I think Hugo's going to get a goal.
I'm going to copy your scoreline. I'm going to go for 1-1 as well. I think this is, if you're a betting man like I think maybe 1-1 is a scoreline just to bet on every single game for the rest of the season. It usually pays about 5-1, so you only need it to land 3 times in the next 13 games for you to be in profit. So I'm going to be betting on 1-1 every single game between now and the end of the season, and we'll see where that takes us. What are you shaking your head, Noah? I had money on Lanzini to stay at West Ham, which Sky Bet still haven't paid out. What are they waiting for? Someone to announce they've signed an injured Lanzini. It's not happening. Give me my money. But anyway, that's it from us. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like on it. Let us know in the comments below what you would like to see us line up. Should we keep an unchanged 11? Also, what your preferred choice back three is, and give us your score predictions. Subscribe if you're new around here, and do check out that Isla Fund if you can. And we will see you on Saturday afternoon with our review of the match. We'll catch you in a bit.